Legends speak of a flower that grows where the dead whisper. They call it the black bloom, a rare and cursed plant said to feed on sorrow and bloom only in places where terrible tragedies have occurred. Those who seek it never return, and those who glimpse it are haunted forever. No one knows if it is a natural phenomenon or something far more sinister. But when renowned botanist Dr. Elias Mercer receives an old journal detailing the existence of the black bloom in the depths of the forsaken Ravenswood forest, his curiosity is piqued. Against all warnings, he embarks on an expedition, determined to uncover the truth. What he finds will defy all reason and cost him more than he ever imagined. The trees stood like silent sentinels, their gnarled branches twisting against the fog-laden sky. Ravenswood Forest had long been abandoned, left to the whispers of the past. Dr. Mercer stepped cautiously onto the overgrown path, the journal clutched tightly in his gloved hands. His team consisted of only two others, Claire, a photographer with a keen eye for the unnatural, and Daniel, a skeptical survivalist. Their mission was simple: find the black bloom, document its existence, and leave. But from the moment they crossed into the forest, an uneasy stillness settled around them, as if the land itself was watching. They hiked deeper, their boots crunching against brittle leaves, the path winding like a serpent between towering trees. The deeper they went, the thicker the fog became, clinging to their clothes like unseen hands. The journal Elias carried was filled with sketches and warnings, but he was too enthralled to heed them. Night fell quickly, swallowing the last remnants of daylight. As the team set up camp, a chill that had nothing to do with the temperature crept through the air. The forest was too quiet. No insects, no rustling leaves, only the occasional crackle of the fire. Then the whispers began, faint at first, like a distant breeze carrying unintelligible words. Claire swore she saw shadows moving between the trees. Daniel dismissed it as paranoia, but Elias knew better. He had read the warnings. He just chose not to believe them. Sleep came fitfully. Elias awoke multiple times to the sound of breathing just outside his tent, but each time he checked, there was nothing there. Only darkness stretching endlessly beyond the firelight. At dawn, Elias found it. A single black bloom standing defiantly in the clearing. Its petals were the color of midnight, absorbing the light instead of reflecting it. He reached out, hesitating only briefly before plucking it. A sharp pain shot through his palm. The stem had thorns, though none were visible. A drop of his blood stained the petals. Then the ground beneath him trembled, ever so slightly, as if the earth itself had exhaled in relief or anticipation. The moment he placed the bloom in his sample case, the forest seemed to react. The air grew heavier, the trees looming closer. Claire captured a photograph, but when she checked her camera, the image was wrong. The bloom was there, but so was something else. A shadowy figure standing behind Elias, watching. That night, Elias dreamed of fire and screaming faces. He saw villagers, torches in hand, surrounding a woman who clutched a black bloom to her chest. "You must not take it," she whispered before the flames consumed her. He awoke in a cold sweat, the echoes of her voice still ringing in his ears. Claire and Daniel reported the same dream. Fear crept into their voices, but Elias refused to acknowledge it. They had come too far to turn back now. Strange markings appeared on their tents, symbols etched into the fabric, pulsating as though alive. The whispers grew more distinct, forming words they did not understand. The forest no longer felt abandoned. It felt inhabited. The whispers grew louder, forming words that slithered into their minds. "You took what was ours," they accused. The forest no longer felt empty. It felt full, as though unseen eyes were watching their every move. Daniel insisted they leave, but the path they had taken was gone, replaced by an unending stretch of trees. The forest had changed. They were trapped. The trees seemed to move when they weren't looking, shifting subtly, rearranging themselves. Elias checked his compass. It spun wildly, as though refusing to settle on a direction. Claire's hands shook as she clutched her camera, whispering prayers under her breath. Time lost meaning. Day and night blended together, and hunger gnawed at their stomachs, despite the untouched rations in their packs. Shadows moved closer now, taking on vague, human-like shapes. Claire vanished first. One moment she was behind Elias, the next she was gone. Only her camera remained, its screen flashing images of things they had never seen. Images of themselves, moments ago, but with something lurking behind them. Daniel and Elias searched frantically, but the forest seemed to mock them, leading them in circles. The whispers had become a chorus now, an ever-present chant that clawed at their sanity. Elias and Daniel ran, but the forest twisted around them, leading them back to the clearing where the black bloom had been plucked. A figure stood there now, its face obscured by darkness. In its hands, the bloom pulsed like a living heart. "You took what was not yours," it whispered. "Now you will take its place." Daniel screamed as roots burst from the ground, wrapping around his legs. Elias fought, but the force was too strong. The darkness pulled them down, deeper into the earth, where the whispers turned into anguished wails. Elias awoke alone, buried up to his chest in the cold soil. The entity loomed over him, its shadowy tendrils caressing his face. "Return it," it commanded. But he had already taken the bloom. There was no going back. With the last of his strength, he tore a page from the journal and stuffed it into his mouth, swallowing the knowledge it contained. If he was to die here, he would not let the secret die with him. As his vision dimmed, Elias saw the truth. The black bloom was no ordinary flower. It was a seed of something far older, something that fed on the souls of the curious. Those who took it became part of the forest, their whispers joining the chorus of the lost. Months later, another expedition found Elias's journal near the edge of the forest. His final entry was smeared with dirt and blood. The black bloom is not a flower. It is a doorway, and once opened, it can never be closed. No trace of Elias, Claire, or Daniel was ever found. But deep within Ravenswood, the whispers continued, calling for the next unfortunate soul to seek the bloom.